Stop scrolling. What I'm about to tell you could save you years of waiting and thousands of dollars on your journey to America. The United States Citizenship and Immigration Services just made an announcement that's changing everything. And if you're planning to work, study, or reunite with family in the U.S. during 2025, you need to hear this right now. I'm talking about sweeping changes affecting millions of people: H-1B visa holders, green card applicants, international students, families waiting to reunite. Some of these changes will make your path easier. Others could derail your entire plan if you're caught off guard. I've spent 3 full days analyzing these announcements, speaking with immigration attorneys, and breaking down exactly what this means for your specific situation. By the time you finish watching, you'll know precisely how these changes impact you and the exact steps you need to take immediately. If your American dream matters to you, don't click away. Missing this information could cost you years of precious time. Welcome back to Dream Visa Updates, where we cut through the noise and give you clear, actionable immigration information you can actually use. I'm your host, and our mission is simple: keep you informed about every significant change in the U.S. immigration system. No clickbait, no scare tactics, just facts, expert analysis, and practical steps. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Immigration policies are changing faster than ever, and you can't afford to miss updates that could affect your future. Drop a comment below telling me your current visa status or which pathway you're pursuing. I read every single comment, and I genuinely want to hear your story. Now let's dive into these groundbreaking changes the United States just announced for 2025. The American immigration landscape is transforming right before our eyes. What we're witnessing represents some of the most significant policy shifts we've seen in years. These aren't small administrative tweaks. We're talking fundamental changes to processing procedures, fee structures, priority systems, and how the entire machine operates going forward. Understanding these changes isn't just important. It's absolutely essential if you want to navigate the system successfully and avoid expensive mistakes that could destroy your plans. Let's start with what affects the most people: a complete overhaul of fees across virtually every visa category and immigration benefit. The Department of Homeland Security announced comprehensive fee adjustments taking effect in early 2025. Before you panic, let me break this down. Yes, certain categories are seeing fee increases, some of them substantial. Naturalization applications, the final step to becoming a U.S. citizen, are going up significantly. Employment-based visa petitions, especially those popular H-1B visas that tech workers and skilled professionals depend on, are seeing increases. Adjustment of status applications, how you actually get your green card when you're already in the U.S., are climbing higher. But here's what nobody else is telling you. There's actually good news hidden in these changes. The fee increases aren't universal or random. The government implemented a tiered system designed to reduce costs for certain applicants, particularly those with lower incomes and those seeking humanitarian benefits. We're seeing fee reductions and expanded waiver eligibility for asylum seekers, trafficking and crime victims, and certain family-based categories. This is massive because for years, cost has been one of the biggest immigration barriers. Families had to choose between paying immigration fees and putting food on the table. Now there's real relief coming for those who need it most. The processing time initiatives represent another earthquake in the system. USCIS publicly committed to dramatically reducing processing times across the board with specific target dates for various application categories. They're not making vague promises anymore. They're putting actual numbers and deadlines on paper. For employment-based green cards, they're targeting processing times measured in months, not years, for certain categories. For family-based petitions, they're implementing new systems promising to cut wait times significantly, especially for immediate relatives of U.S. citizens. Here's their plan to make this happen. First, they're massively expanding their workforce. We're talking thousands of new immigration officers being hired and trained. Second, they're investing heavily in technology and automation. Manual processes that took weeks are being streamlined through artificial intelligence and machine learning systems that quickly verify information, flag issues, and move straightforward cases through faster. Third, they're implementing a sophisticated priority processing system unlike anything we've seen before. They're using data analytics to identify which cases can be resolved quickly and which need detailed review, then routing them accordingly. Let me tell you what this really means for you. If you've been stuck in the immigration backlog, watching your priority date crawl forward at a snail's pace year after year, this could be your breakthrough. Immigration attorneys are already seeing movement in cases that have been frozen for years. The system is unclogging. Applications submitted in 2021 and 2022 are finally getting picked up and processed. But here's the critical part. This doesn't mean you can sit back and wait. You need to ensure all your documentation is current, your address is updated with USCIS, and you're ready to respond immediately if they request additional evidence. Now let's talk about something affecting hundreds of thousands of international students. Major changes to optional practical training, OPT, and the STEM extension program. The Department of Homeland Security announced expanded eligibility criteria, opening work opportunities for a broader range of degree programs and fields. Previously, the STEM OPT extension was limited to a narrow list of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics fields. Now they're expanding to include emerging fields like renewable energy, biotechnology, advanced manufacturing, and certain healthcare specializations. This is huge. International students graduating with degrees in these fields can now get up to 3 years of work authorization in the United States instead of just 1 year. They're also streamlining the OPT application process, making it easier for students to transition from student visas to work authorization without gaps in legal status. One major complaint over the years: students would apply for OPT, but processing took so long they'd lose job opportunities because employers couldn't wait. The new system promises faster adjudication, with most OPT applications processed within 30 days. They're introducing an electronic filing system for real-time application tracking and quick responses to information requests. For those on H-1B visas or planning to apply, there are critical developments you need to know. The annual H-1B cap lottery system is getting completely redesigned. Registration period timing is being adjusted, and they're implementing new integrity measures to crack down on fraud and abuse. Over recent years, there's been growing concern about companies submitting multiple registrations for the same candidate to game the system and boost lottery odds. The new system includes sophisticated fraud detection algorithms, identifying duplicate registrations and suspicious patterns. They're increasing penalties for companies violating H-1B program rules, which is actually good news for legitimate employers and workers because it means less competition from bad actors exploiting the system. But here's something getting less attention that's equally important. They're expanding flexibility for H-1B workers to change employers and work for multiple employers simultaneously. The H-1B portability process, which lets you start working for a new employer as soon as they file your petition rather than waiting for approval, is being clarified and strengthened. This gives workers more power and mobility in the job market, addressing a long-standing H-1B program issue. Family-based immigration is seeing some of the most welcome changes, particularly for those waiting years or decades to reunite with loved ones. The State Department announced they're implementing new scheduling systems at consulates and embassies worldwide to reduce appointment wait times for immigrant visa interviews. If you've tried scheduling a visa interview recently, you know the frustration of seeing appointment slots months or a year out. The new system promises added capacity and dramatically reduced wait times, particularly at high-volume posts in countries like India, Mexico, the Philippines, and China. They're also introducing measures to keep families together while cases are being processed. This includes expanded humanitarian parole access for certain family members and new provisional waiver processes, allowing people to stay in the U.S. with families while waiver applications are reviewed, rather than leaving the country and waiting abroad for potentially years. For green card holders pursuing U.S. citizenship, there are important naturalization process updates. The civics test is being updated to reflect current events and contemporary understanding of American government and history. They're implementing new testing formats more accessible to applicants with disabilities or language barriers. More significantly, they're expanding fee waiver and reduction availability for naturalization applicants meeting certain income requirements. This addresses one of the biggest citizenship barriers, the substantial filing fee many longtime green card holders simply couldn't afford. The asylum system is undergoing perhaps the most dramatic transformation. After years of massive backlogs and wait times stretching into decades, the government is implementing what they call a complete redesign of asylum case processing. This includes hiring hundreds of new asylum officers, implementing new case management technology platforms, and creating fast-track procedures for straightforward cases. They're also expanding work permit access for asylum seekers, allowing them to apply for employment authorization earlier in the process. This is crucial because it allows people fleeing persecution to support themselves and their families while cases are decided, rather than remaining in limbo without legal workability. For entrepreneurs and investors, there are exciting developments in visa categories allowing foreign nationals to start businesses and create jobs in the United States. The International Entrepreneur Rule is being strengthened and expanded, making it easier for innovative startup founders to come to America and build their companies. Minimum investment thresholds are being adjusted to reflect current economic realities, and startup qualifying criteria are being clarified to reduce ambiguity. This is part of a broader push ensuring America remains competitive in attracting global talent and investment in an increasingly competitive international landscape. Premium processing services, which let applicants pay an additional fee for expedited processing of certain immigration benefits, are being expanded to cover more visa categories. Previously, premium processing was only available for a limited set of petition types. Now it's being extended to include more employment-based categories and certain family-based petitions. This gives applicants more options and control over their timelines, particularly valuable for those facing urgent situations like job start dates or expiring status. One change flying under the radar but actually quite significant involves how USCIS handles requests for evidence, commonly known as RFES. These are letters USCIS sends when they need additional documentation or clarification about your application. Historically, RFEs have been a major source of stress and delay in the immigration process. The new guidelines instruct officers to be more specific about what they need and why, rather than sending vague requests, leaving applicants and attorneys guessing. They're also setting time limits on how long officers can take to review RFE responses, which should reduce lengthy delays plaguing the system. For those tracking visa bulletin movements and priority dates, there's important news about how the State Department manages visa number allocation. They're implementing more sophisticated forecasting models that should result in more predictable priority date movement and fewer instances of dates moving forward dramatically one month, then backwards the next. This predictability is crucial for people making life decisions about education, employment, and housing based on immigration status. Medical examinations required for immigration purposes are also seeing updates. The list of approved civil surgeons who can conduct these examinations is being expanded, and panel physicians at consulates abroad are receiving updated guidelines ensuring more consistent examination procedures. They're also clarifying which vaccinations are required and providing more flexibility for applicants with medical contraindications to certain vaccines. We've covered tremendous ground today, and I know it's a lot to absorb. Here's what I want you to take away from this. Yes, the immigration system is changing. Yes, some changes will require you to adapt your strategy, but overall, many of these changes represent genuine improvements that could make your immigration journey faster, more affordable, and less stressful. The key is staying informed and being proactive. Don't wait until the last minute to understand how these changes affect you. Here's what I want you to do right now. First, screenshot or bookmark this video so you can reference the specific changes applying to your situation. Second, if you haven't already, consult with a qualified immigration attorney. While I provide information and analysis here on Dream Visa Updates, nothing replaces personalized legal advice from someone who can review your specific circumstances. Third, make sure you're subscribed to Dream Visa Updates and you've hit that notification bell because I'll be following up with more detailed videos about each of these changes and how they affect specific visa categories. I'm doing a live Q&A session next week where I'll answer your questions about these new policies. Drop your questions in the comments below, and I'll address as many as possible during that stream. Also, check out the videos I'm linking in the description and cards above, where I go deeper into specific visa categories and immigration pathways. Remember, your American dream is still possible. These changes don't close doors. In many cases, they're actually opening new ones. But you need to be informed, prepared, and strategic in how you approach your immigration journey. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up so more people can find this information. Share it with anyone you know going through the immigration process. Knowledge is power, and the more informed our community is, the better outcomes we'll all have. Thank you so much for watching Dream Visa Updates. I'll see you in the next video where we'll dive even deeper into these changes and give you the step-by-step action plans you need to succeed. Until then, stay informed, stay positive, and keep working toward your goals. Your future in America is worth fighting for.